All right. Bungie's This Week in Destiny article just dropped, and we have a ton of crazy changes coming to the game. We have Stasis, artifact mods next season, and a complete Stasis overhaul, amongst many other things. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this, because this is about to be a big one today. All right. We have announcing our latest collab. They're going to be doing a Destiny 2 x The Witcher collaboration, which is very exciting. We've got new artifact, Who Dis? So they're going through all the different artifact mods here. We got anti-barrier sidearm. We've got flame, fiber, and freeze. Combines the solar and strand stasis siphon mods. Got it. Flint striker. Rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows grant radiant. Okay, so some good solar mods in the artifact next season. Unraveling orbs. Picking up an orb of power grants strand weapons unraveling rounds. Exciting. And we've got horde shuttle. Damaging unraveled targets with a weapon. Occasionally spawns a threadling. Nice. Nice. Next up, we have Unstoppable Hand Cannon next season. Kindling Trigger. Radiance causes solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. Very nice. Okay, so we have some crazy ignitions with that. Then we've got Torch. While Radiant, deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by Strand and Stasis debuffs. Nice. And then Pillar of Ice. Killing an encased combatant spawns Stasis crystals. Okay. And then Hail the Storm. Shattering encased targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage. Shattering a stasis crystal releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets. All right, that sounds like it's gonna be it's gonna be some pretty. It's gonna be a stasis season, a stasis meta for sure. Unstoppable bow. All right, so we've got blast radius, rapid final blows with rocket launchers and grenade launchers, grant armor charge. Okay, that's gonna be good. We've got Heart of the Flame, casting your solar super. Grants nearby allies radiant and increases the damage of your super for each nearby ally. Oh, what? That's gonna increases the damage of your super? Okay, that's might be really crazy with like Golden Gun, right? It could be really crazy with the Solar Titan with the new exotic gauntlets as well. Revitalizing Blast, causing damage with a solar ability, weakens champions and bosses for short duration. It debuffs them. All right, Solar and Stasis is about to be wild. Rays of Precision. While Radiant Solar Precision Final Blows cause combatants to ignite. Wow. Overload Auto Rifles. Origin Perk Specialization improves the benefits provided by the Sundering. Nano Munitions, got it. All of those different specializations. And then Specialization 2. And then we have Overload Rocket Launchers. Now that's something we've never seen before. Rocket Launchers are especially effective against Overload champions. That's very interesting. We have never seen that before, right? I'm pretty sure we've never seen that. Solo Operative. While you're the only member of your fire team, you deal increased damage to all combatants. We've had that before, and that's a good one. A lot of people really enjoy that, especially for solo activities. And then we have Overload Pulse Rifle. And then from Whence You Came, increase ability damage to taken and scorned combatants. All right. And then Wish You Into Being. While your super is nearly fully charged, ability final blows spawn orbs of power. Wearing Season of the Wish armor decreases super amount threshold. Interesting. Dragon's Bite. Breaking combatant shield with a strand or stasis weapon has a chance to suspend or freeze that combatant. Wearing Season of the Wish armor increases this chance. Very interesting. So you're going to really want to wear that armor set next season. Argent Ordnance. Firing a rocket launcher consumes 1 stack of armor charge, granting increased damage and reload speed until you reload or stow your rocket launcher. Alright. Exciting stuff for sure. Holy. Then we have ability changes coming next week. Here's a preview of the Sandbox tuning changes from Season of the Wish and beyond. Ensuring that abilities, this is the goals right here, ensuring that abilities are meeting our intended cost to output ratio. Reducing cases of player survivability that exceed our power bar. Making first steps at Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn tuning. Say goodbye, Wells. Wells been nerfed a little bit. It's about to get worse. Taking a tuning pass and stasis abilities with more to come in the future. Got it. Let's get started. We've laid this out a number of times in previous posts, but it's worth repeating. We believe that powerful abilities need to come to a meaningful cost to the player to force difficult decisions about what to fit best in their build. Couldn't agree anymore. To put it plainly, we're not hitting that goal. There are many build crafting avenues that grant flat chunks of ability energy and ignore ability cooldown tiers. Also greatly agree. There's no trade-off. This gives them extremely inconsistent value depending upon what grenade, melee, or class ability you have equipped. Here's an example. A perk that grants 10% ability energy on activation results in a cooldown reduction of 6.4 seconds to Firebolt Grenade, but results in a cooldown reduction of 15.2 seconds for Lightning Grenade. So yeah, not the same application for everything. When players stack these build crafting elements together, Grenade Kickstart, Innervation, Absolution, Demolitionist, it results in a long cooldown abilities having uptime that is dramatically higher than what we intend for their potency level. Got it? With Season of the Wish, we're taking a first step at addressing that problem, starting with update 730. The base passive cooldown tiers for abilities will also influence the amount of chunk energy they receive from perks. Got it. That's good. I think that's probably a fair change overall, although I never am a fan of nerfing our abilities. Seems like it could be a better trade-off. For our fastest charging abilities, things are not changing, but as we progress through the passive cooldown tiers into the slower charging abilities, that immediate burst of energy will reduce to a floor of 50% of base for our slowest charging grenade and class abilities, and 60% for our lowest charging abilities. Interesting. So you'll have to weigh your options a little bit more here. Here's that same example under the new system. A perk that grants a base value of 10% grenade energy on activation results in a cooldown reduction of 6.4 seconds for Firebolt Grenade and results in a cooldown reduction of 7.6 seconds for Lightning Grenade. Seems a little more balanced. Here we go. We have, with the Season of the Wish, we're only implementing this change for grenade, melee, and class abilities. Perks that add super energy are unchanged, while we're also excluding any perk that either intentionally grants a full refund, like Knock 'em Down, or targets only a single specific ability, like Shinobu's Vow. These will still work identically to their behavior in the live game. Got it. In our playtesting, this results in more of the intended variance between high and low uptime abilities, and an opportunity cost that more closely matches potency, but we don't expect or desire that anyone's build is going to be made obsolete overnight by this change. We're going to keep iterating on this new system going forward, so expect future updates as we see how it plays out alongside all of you. Okay. Let me know your thoughts about that one. And then we've got Staying Alive. As our roster of player-elected difficulty activities has expanded in recent years, we've shifted the sandbox to enable more of our often risky gameplay loops to feel effective against increasingly difficult lineups of combatants. This can be seen in the addition of more defense or support-focused tools, including the standardization of overshields, expanded access to healing through restoration and cure, and the development of keywords like woven mail. However, we still need our aspirational content to remain challenging. We're currently in a position where applying combat pressure to a well-build crafted player is extremely difficult, which doesn't leave our activity teams with many options for tuning difficulty while still having things feel fair across the broad spectrum of player types. Got it. We'll see what happens with woven mail and stuff like that. In short, player survivability at the top end is too high, a problem we've touched in the past, and we need to find a better balance between the two extremes of enabling players to heedlessly dive into the fray or making it feel like long-range chip challenge is the only option to clear an encounter. To that end, we're making an initial pass at tuning some of our top-end outliers, but we anticipate that this will be a process that takes place over many releases so that we can ensure that things are trending in a healthy way. For this first pass, we're targeting a small number of subclass keywords that we believe most strongly contribute to excessive survivability in combat: Woven Mail, Restoration, and Devour. Oh man, this is gonna hurt. With update 720, we took a small stab at Woven Mail's PvE damage reduction, but with update 730, we're reducing it even further, 10%. So right now, it was 60%, I believe now it's 55%, and that means in the future it'll be 45%, if I'm understanding my numbers correctly. While this is a relatively small change, we want to evaluate it alongside some changes to Banner of War that you'll read about later on before taking any larger swings. Woven Mail, reduced damage resistance, PvE from 55 to 45, that's exactly what I said. Restoration's heal rate is being reduced in both PvE and PvP. Similar to that of the Woven Mail case, we want to see how this feeling sits alongside some changes to Throwing Hammer and Soul Invictus further down. Got it. Restoration, reduced healing rate at Restoration ×1, old, 40 health per second, and 20 health per second in PvP. Got it. So the difference between PvE and PvE. So obviously balancing the sandboxes differently there. New 35 and 17.5 for Restoration. And reduced healing rate of Restoration ×2, 65 health per second and 32. That makes a lot of sense. Restoration ×2, I've been saying for a while now, is basically just God mode. And I think that a small adjustment to that is fair. As much as I don't necessarily want PvE things to get nerfed, I do think that's probably fair. Last up is Devour, whose potency is largely due to its ease of use of the Echo of Starvation fragment, which was initially developed when there were fewer orbs of power being generated we're making up a targeted change to Devour that excludes Voidwalkers, reducing its healing from 200 HP to 100 HP unless Feed the Void is equipped. Got it. For our Voidwalkers out there, we're also increasing the amount of grenade energy that Devour defeats. Grant with Feed the Void to offset some of the chunk energy change detailed above. Oh man, Devour isn't going to fully heal you, it's just going to give you 100. Interesting. Healing amount, both on activation and when refreshed, reduced from a full heal to 100 HP unless Feed the Void is equipped. And then we have now refills both health and shield sections more smoothly rather than adding health to each section separately. Keep that in mind. If you're going to use that, make sure you have that Feed the Void on. That's going to be nice. Increased grenade energy regeneration per kill while Devour is active for Feed the Void. The amount varies based on the type of target defeated. Now also improves the strength of Devour's heal when equipped. Got it. This is going to be an ongoing process, so please continue to give feedback on how things are feeling and we'll adjust accordingly as we go forward. Very interesting. I think I agree with those changes. I know it can be hard to accept some nerfs to some of your favorite subclasses and builds, but the survivability on them is pretty crazy, so I think that's all perfectly fine and fair adjustments. So next we have Sprint and Slide Melees. In Update 3.4.0, we made the decision to remove the capability for shoulder charge abilities, Shield Bash, words are hard, chat. I just had a brain aneurysm. Shield Bash, Seismic Strike, and Hammer Strike to one-shot enemy players. This part was an ongoing effort to make sure that any one-shot ability in the game comes with significant risk or cost, whether that's a significant wind-up time, aim skill, or a specific build crafting choice. We believe that it is still the right call, and we want to maintain the intended level of risk for using powerful melees against players. Got it? So what are you trying to say then? Players are currently able to circumvent this change by sliding, firing their weapon, and still being able to initiate a shoulder charge or slide melee. This has been a feature for so long. It's kind of a skill feature because you have to like slide, shotgun, and melee. And I kind of like that it's a thing in the game, so the fact that they're removing this hurts a little bit. This results in an effective one-shot kill that is extremely difficult to track or understand if you feel like you're receiving it. That's true. I will say that when Titans do this to me, I'm a little pissed about it. But when I do it to others, I enjoy it. So maybe it's a little bit, maybe it's not as balanced as I thought. Starting in Season of the Wish, firing your weapon while sliding will now prevent the activation of sprint or slide activated melees. We originally intended for this change to be isolated to shoulder charge abilities, but in our initial playtesting, we quickly realized that the shoulder charge was easily replaceable with Tempest Strike, Lightning Surge, or other melee abilities, so we're including them in this change as well. Got it. Wow. So there you go. You got that. You're not going to be able to slide, shotgun, shoulder charge anymore. That's been a technique used by Titans for quite some time now. RIP to the Titan homies out there. Pour one out for the Titans. That's rough. Alongside this change, they're increasing the potency of Tempest Strike, which has fell somewhat left behind. And a buff to Hunters. So like, oh yeah, and by the way, we're nerfing Titans and Hunters, you get buffed. Increasing the base damage of your arc melee from 110 to 125. Wow. Spit on us while we're down, Bungie. Unbelievable. Rework tracking behavior to be more consistent in larger ranges. Improve consistency when traveling over rough terrain. Dang. That is dirty. Bonk Hammer and Ban... Don't you do it. Don't you do it, Bungie. Oh my god. With Season of the Witch, we released Banner of War, which has quickly jumped to the top of the aspect list for our Titan players. It's currently equipped for nearly 20% of all Titan playtime for the Season of the Witch PvE activities. This is rivaled only by the Into the Fray at 15% of playtime, which is Banner of War's natural pairing. We're very happy with the way Banner of War has supported the Berserker class fantasy, and we don't want to reduce its ability to do so when at maximum charge. However, it's currently too easy to build up to that maximum charge very quickly, and content with sufficient density of combatants, especially with the help of your teammates. With Season of the Wish, we're making a change to slow down the charge progression, increasing the number of defeats required to level the Banner of War each tier. As part of this change, we're also slightly increasing the timer extension granted by each enemy defeated to compensate. Alright. Banner of War. Increase the number of enemy combatants necessary to level up Banner of War by approximately double and increase the amount of time added per enemy defeat. Okay, so you just have to kill some more enemies. I think I can handle this. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. These values vary depending on the type of target defeated, and fixed an issue where unpowered swords were being granted damage boost by Banner of War. Got it. Let's talk bonk. That one wasn't too bad. That Banner of War nerf was a very small adjustment. Prior to Solar 3.0, Throwing Hammer was in the code of the Devastator subclass tree, which didn't have much in the way of survivability tools other than picking up the hammer after a hit. This meant that players needed to be significantly more careful in their play and generally weren't as capable of standing in champions or bosses' faces with impunity while they chucked a hammer at its torso over and over again. While this makes for a fun visual, we don't believe that this behavior is healthy for the game, so alongside the changes to restoration detail above, we're looking more fundamentally at how throwing hammer functions. Oh no! Don't do this to the... Don't... Leave the baby hammer alone, Bungie! We started this section off talking about the relationship between potency and uptime, and how the rules of the sandbox begin to break down when these don't match up for a given ability. Throwing hammer just currently isn't matching up. We don't want to remove the full energy refund on pickup because the conventional gameplay loop is still really fun, but we do want to add some downtime between throws to discourage the stand next to the boss and bonk them behavior. To that end, picking up a throwing hammer will now return its energy over a short duration rather than instantly. We're also increasing the projectile's tracking strength so that players who choose to chunk the hammer at longer ranges are more consistently rewarded for taking that risk. Dang, so they try to give a small buff to it by giving it better tracking when you throw it from way too far away. Dang, and now you're not just gonna be able to stand there and bonk. Dang, I'm sad. When throwing hammer, when picked up, now returns melee energy over 1.4 seconds rather than instantly. So you throw the hammer, you stand on top of it where it's at, and you have to wait 1.4 seconds. That hurts. Increase projectile tracking strength by about 20%. Part of this equation is also Soul Invictus, which offers Don't do sunspots dirty. Don't do this, Bungie. Don't do this. Pete, I'm begging you, Pete. Pete, please. I'll pre-order the final shape, Pete. Just don't do this. Similarly to our throwing hammer changes, we don't want to discourage players who want to move from position to position, advancing through the combat space, but we do want to make sure that players who bunker in damaged positions aren't able to do so for too long. Soul Invictus reduced maximum sunspot duration from 20 seconds to 12. No, not 20 seconds to 12. This duration is only ever reached when the sunspot player is standing inside the sunspot. Sunspot duration without the owner standing inside of it remains unchanged at 5 seconds. Damn it, Pete. Why did we do this? Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn. With update 3.4.0, we made a change to our super cooldowns, placing Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn in the fastest recharging tier. This decision was largely based on their kill potential versus supers that dealt burst damage or allow you to roam the field for potential team wipes. The game has changed significantly since then, and with the changes to Trials of Osiris, Dominion as the game mode, we want to reevaluate their placement. This is a good change. Yes, this needs to happen. Right now, everyone is running around as a Solar Titan, putting a well down on the zone, as a Bubble Titan, putting a bubble down on the zone. Yes, this is good. I know people might dislike some of this, but this is good. In Season of the Wish, we're increasing their base cooldown times by 1 tier, matching the passive cooldowns of some of their burst supers like Blade Barrage or Chaos Reach. Our goal is for Well and Ward to have stronger competition in round-based modes, giving other players more tools to effectively deal with them under the time pressure that a mode like Dominion has. Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn increase base cooldown time from 417 seconds to 455 seconds. Okay. On a longer time frame, we're evaluating Well and Ward's place in the sandbox more fundamentally. These two supers are currently operating in too similar of a space, leaving little room for them to breathe on their own. Well of Radiance in particular offers too much, and its effective invulnerability is not something we believe the sandbox can or should continue to support. We're not making further changes to Well or Ward with Season of the Wish, but we have a suite of future changes planned to reduce Well's dominance in PvE and push the gameplay space of these two supers further apart. We'll provide more details on that closer to release. Got it. So that's the cue the music, the dun dun dun. Well, your time is coming up, right? It's gonna get nerfed again. And it probably is fair because Well just adds a level of survivability that no other super can even come close to. The near and slightly further future of Stasis. This is what I'm talking about. I want Stasis 2.0, or I guess, what is it, 4.0? I mean, technically it was the light class 3.0s. I don't know. Numbers are hard. A week and a half ago, Stasis turned 3 years old, and a lot has happened in that time. We've seen massive changes in the sandbox as we released the Light 3.0 subclasses. We added Strand as a 5th damage type in Lightfall, and the overall power bar of the sandbox has shifted significantly, resulting in Stasis feeling like it's been left behind. We've given Stasis some tuning updates here and there, but we believe it's time to give it a bigger shot in the arm. Alright, so we're giving Stasis some anabolic steroids. Let's go. Starting in Season of the Wish, we're making a number of quality of life changes to improve Stasis' reliability in combat, and we're reevaluating some of our previous tuning changes for Stasis abilities with the goal of bringing them up to the current abilities power bar. Let's start off first with the Fragment Suite. For this release, we focused on our stat bonuses and penalties, removing that felt unnecessary, tweaking them to make underperforming picks a little more attractive, or shifting them to better suit the gameplay of the fragments. Whisper of Hedrons, remove the -10% strength penalty, okay. Impetus, +10 resilience, nice. Shards, +10 resilience, okay. Hunger, stat penalty change from -10 mobility and -10 intellect to -20 strength, got it. And Whisper of Bonds, remove the -10 discipline penalty. For hunters out there, we decided to just delete you altogether. Oh, sorry, I misread that. We're making changes targeted at improving the reliability of Withering Blade in the content and Winter Shroud in PvE. Withering Blade now travels faster, has longer lifetime bounces, and additional time before expiring, and is more consistent in finding a target, both before and after a bounce. Got it. Withering Blade. Increase projectile speed by 10%. Increase maximum projectile lifetime by 10%. Increase maximum bounce count from 2 to 3. Increase strike speed. Man, does anyone remember when this thing was so good? You were a hunter and you would just throw these down a hallway, like a random hallway, and it would just kill someone. Maybe even the whole team. They were so OP when they first came out. We're kind of going back in that direction a little bit. I know they won't be as OP as when they first came out, but we're going that direction, which is a little bit scary because of the PTSD of these melees. Next up, we have Winter Shroud is getting an update to be more forgiving against PvE combatants with a longer slow duration and increased area of effect. We're also increasing its slow stat count against PvE combatants from 40 to 60, enabling things like 6 Coyote to more easily freeze enemies, or for a freeze to occur more quickly after a quick Dusk Field / dodge combo. Got it. Winter Shroud, increased slow stacks applied to PvE combatants from 40 to 60, increased slow duration applied from 4 seconds to 8 seconds, increased slow detonation versus PvE combatants from 8 meters to 9 meters. Okay, that's a little PvE buff for that one. Next up, we got for Titans, we're walking a few changes back made in hotfixes 3113203 to Shiver Strike and Glacial Quake that no longer fit the current sandbox. Alright, bring on the power creep. Let's go. Stasis meta. We've returned the ability to freeze nearby players on cast of Glacial Quake. That was sick. You'd pop your freaking behemoth and freeze everything, making casting at close quarters significantly safer than its current iteration. For Shiver Strike, we've restored its slow application to players on hit. This was previously removed in a world collision where collision damage was still lethal to players. Now that targets don't need to be able to air brake with a movement mode or risk being splattered, we're more comfortable with giving Shiver Strike a bit more offensive spice. Nice. Very nice. Now slows players on hit. I love that. Fixing an issue where Shiver Strike would not function with the melee kickstart mod. Nice. Glacial Quake freezes on cast. We love that. On cast, freeze impulse size versus players has been reduced from 8 meters to 6 meters. Okay, so they made it like a small radius, so you got to get kind of close to them. Kind of like how Warlocks, they get close to you and they pop their rift. Kind of a similar idea there. We're also implementing a change to improve Howl of the Storm's consistency against players because seeing a target touching a stasis crystal created by Howl and not being frozen was a frustrating experience. So Howl of the Storm fixed an issue where Howl of the Storm was not consistently freezing targets in contact with created stasis crystals. Got it? For Warlocks, we're making a couple of quality of life improvements to Frost Pulse and Penumbral Blast. Shadebinder is a strong pick already, and we don't feel like it needs much of a push, so we're focusing on areas where it can sometimes fail the reliability test. Frost Pulse's area of effect is being increased in PvE combatants, and we've improved its network performance. Frost Pulse. Significantly increased consistency against fast-moving targets. Got it? This change involved reworking how the ability applies freezing to targets, reducing the latency. Cool. Okay. This is a good Stasis Warlock buff here. Freeze detonation size versus PvE combatants from 8 meters to 8.5. Alright. Penumbral Blast is intended to be a skill shot with a high payout. To reduce its detonation size when impacting the environment can sometimes make it feel too inconsistent. Penumbral Blast, increased detonation size when impacting the environment from 1.5 meters to 2.0. Okay. And Shadebinders will also greatly benefit from the tuning change being made to Glacier Grenade. Currently, Bleak Watcher's cooldown is directly tied to the base cooldown of Glacier Grenade, regardless of what grenade you have equipped. Update 730, Glacier Grenade's cooldown is being reduced, which will also translate to lower Bleak Watcher cooldown. Got it. Glacier Grenade reduced base cooldown time from 152 seconds to 121. The cooldown penalties for Dustfield Grenade and Cold Snap Grenade when Bleak Watcher is equipped have also been updated, so that their cooldown times match the new Glacier Grenade time. Got it. While Cold Snap Grenade's reliability has significantly improved with our recent passes, there are still instances where it can fail to meet expectations, so we're making further tweaks. Cold Snap fixed an issue where the Seeker was not consistently created in the direction the projectile was moving after a bounce. I don't want these to be strong again. These Cold Snaps were ridiculous back in the day. Increased arming shape size from 0.9 to 1.4. Tracking strength now ramps down to full strength to 0 over the course of the grenade's lifetime, rather than immediately turning off after the Seeker had reached 0.5 seconds lifetime. Finally, we're increasing the bonus damage that special weapons deal to frozen targets by a small amount to help make shattering enemies feel more consistent. Freeze, we have increased special ammo weapons damage bonus versus frozen targets from 5 to 10%. Alright. These aren't the only changes coming for Stasis that we have in the works, and we'll have some long requested changes for a future release that we'll discuss once we're closer. Here's a quick sneak preview, a new Stasis keyword we're tentatively calling Frost Armor, aimed at addressing some of the player feedback regarding survivability when running Stasis, particularly when not using Whisper of Rhyme or Whisper of Chains. Alright. Sounds like some woven mail, but for Stasis, right? Additional tuning changes and reworks to existing Stasis fragments, adding additional behavior to harvest aspects. Tune in next week for a full list of patch notes, which will include a few items we didn't mention here. As always, we'll continue to digest feedback as it's coming in, so please keep it coming. Got it. Upcoming exotic armor and armor mods changes. Okay, we got exotic armor changes too? On top of all the Stasis stuff and the artifact mods? This is too much, Bungie. This is too much. It's time for another set of exotic armor balance changes. We once again wanted to buff some underused exotics. We also wanted to improve the last two popular Aeon Cult sects. Nice. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Hunter, we got Shards of Galinar. Throwing knife kills now grant super energy, ranging between 2.5 and 5%. Nice. Ophidia Spaith, knife kills now grant a stacking bonus damage to throwing knives. Very nice. Dodging refreshes duration. Very cool. Stompies. Okay, here we go. We got some Stompy stuff going on. Removed requirement to have full class ability energy to benefit from the movement bonuses. Reduce the airborne lateral acceleration bonus. Now provides damage resistance against combatants while airborne. So they're a buff to them, especially in PvE. You still want to use them. You're jumping around in the air. We have Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves. The sidearm damage bonus now persists for 5 seconds after your shields begin to recharge. Sidearm kills extend the damage's bonus duration by 3 seconds and completely reload your sidearm from reserves. The damage bonus has been reduced in PvP to compensate for it lasting longer. Then we have the Bombardiers. Now applies 20 slow stacks to enemy players and 40 slow stacks to PvE combatants. Alright. Triton Vice. This is an exotic I haven't heard of in forever. This is like a Glaive Hunter exotic gauntlet, right? Increased Glaive melee damage bonus while surrounded to 100% for PvE and PvP, up from 30%. That's a big buff to that. It's about to be a Glaive meta, potentially. Alright, we've got Celestial Nighthawk. Precision kills now grant super energy ranging between 1.5 and 4.5% depending on target type killed. Nice. Titan, Severance Enclosure, increased size and damage of the explosion. Kills with the exotic explosion will now trigger an additional explosion. Peregrine Greaves. You now have to be airborne for a brief time before the exotic effects apply. Okay. Wonder how long you have to be. I mean, this is a brief period of time, but you usually had to be airborne. You had to jump and shoulder charge anyway, so I guess you can't just do like an immediate little jump, a little bunny hop. Damaging champions, tormentors, or mini bosses with a shoulder charge deals further increased damage and refunds your melee energy. Interesting. That's a nice change to Peregrine Greaves. Worm God Caress, the Burning Fist exotic, has been reworked and is now a meter that increases with melee kills and finishers and decays over time. Meter is broken up into 5 sections, which provides escalating melee and glaive damage bonuses. The upper end of the meter also provides escalating weapon damage bonuses. Nice. As the meter decays, it passes back through the earlier tiers rather than deactivating immediately. The meter decays more quickly. That's a nice change to Worm God Crest, I think. As long as they didn't nerf the effects of it as well. Then we have Ashen Wake, Fusion Grenade impacts now stun unstoppable champions. Okay. Syntheseps, They're just removing the melee lunge, right? Removed extended melee lunge distance. Now provides weapon handling reload speed while surrounded. Reduce the PV surrounded melee damage bonus to plus 165%, down from 200. Dang. The nerf to Syntheseps, that hurts. Increased glaive melee bonus damage from 100% from 50%. Okay, so they're trying to make them. You're trying to use your Syntheseps and a glaive. Interesting. Precious Scars, kills with weapons matching your subclass. Now apply Restoration Tier 1 for 1.5 seconds PvP and 3 seconds PvE. Got it. Warlock, we got the Balador's Wrathweavers. Now when you cast a Frost Pulse Rift, nearby allies gain a Tier 2 Stasis Surge weapon bonus for 10 seconds in PvE and 5 seconds PvP. They also gain 50 HP Overshield. Nice. Stasis damage bonus provided to allies by the Winter's Wrath Shockwave is now a Tier 4 Stasis Surge weapon bonus. When your Winter's Wrath ends, you gain Tier 4 Stasis Surge weapon bonus as well. Interesting. Apotheosis Veil, casting your super now grants Cure Tier 3 for you and nearby allies? Damn. That might be really good to use on like a Well lock, especially after they nerf Well, right? After super ends, you now temporarily gain greatly increased melee and grenade regen for 8 seconds. Okay. Felwinter's Helm, move the size of the weakening burst and duration of weaken up 1 tier against all targets except for finishers against bosses, which retains the maximum size and duration. Alright. Karnstein Armlets, melee kills now grant Cure Tier 3 and Restoration Tier 1 for 8 seconds. Finishers now grant Cure Tier 3 and Restoration Tier 2 for 8 seconds. Aeon Cult, got the Aeons. Exotic all receive the following changes to their sect mods. Okay, so the Aeons are getting the sect change because everyone just uses them for finishers to get power ammo. Alright, Sect of Force, right? Instead, it's rapid precision hits provide quicker reload and weapon swap speeds, and the bonus now lasts for 10 seconds. No longer grants bonus grenade manager super energy on stunning a champion or mini boss. Instead, stunning a champion or rapid precision hits against champions, elites, or mini bosses will mark them for allies. Allies deal plus 20 more damage to marked targets. Got it. And when a target is finished, nearby Aeon Cult allies who do not have the Sect of Force roll equipped gain grenade and melee energy. Okay. Sect of Insight. Nearby Aeon Cult allies who do not have the Sect of Insight roll equipped no longer gain a bonus to weapon damage for short duration. Instead, they gain a burst of super energy. Interesting. This would be some crazy team build crafting synergy here. Sect of Vigor. We have now provides a damage resistance against combatants when an ally dies or is resurrected, in addition to existing class ability energy. When you cast your super, nearby allies no longer gain an instant burst of healing or overshield. Instead, nearby critically wounded enemies damage resistance from combatants as long as they stay near you. Nearby Aeon Cult allies who do not have the Sect of Vigor roll equipped will also recover class ability energy more quickly. Interesting. So we're not doing the make heavy ammo thing anymore? Which one was it that did that? I can't remember the name of it. That's crazy. If that's we're not doing any more make heavy ammo, if I'm reading that right, that's wild. Armor mod changes too, even more armor mod changes on top of everything. Bungie's going crazy in this Twab. All right. In addition to the exotic changes listed above, we're also adjusting several armor mods. Let's see what we got. Heavy-handed, Firepower, and Reaper. These now have a 10-second cooldown for generating an orb. Oh. Reaper also requires a kill to be secured within 10 seconds of using your class ability. Okay. So you can't just dodge, you have to actually get a kill with it. Okay. Melee kickstart, grenade kickstart, and utility kickstart now provides 16 and 45% ability unit. Requires at least a single armor charge to be consumed. Got it. These are some crazy changes for sure. This is going to make you have to actually think about what you're doing a little bit more. Momentum transfer, bolstering detonation, impact induction now provides 12, 17, 20% ability energy for 1, 2, 3 stacks respectively. To require a powered melee attack, outreach and bomber now provides 12, 17, 20. And same thing, and then outreach, bomber, and distribution. Outreach bomber now provides, and then distribution 4, 6, and 7 ability energy. Energy provided is further reduced based on the cooldown of the ability used, with the shortest cooldowns reducing it by 60%. Wow. Okay. This is a crazy one. Uh-oh. What happened here? I think what happened to the VOD here? What happened to the VOD? Oh no. Oh, we're back. Oh, we're back. I don't know what happened there, but everything's good. Alright, they have the Fire Team Finder. It's been doing that on and off. Well, I can't stop the Crota clip, but it's okay. So, we got the LFG system coming into the game. Update to the cutscene archive. Yep, they've added more cutscenes to the game. And then, Yes, you can get these things by participating in the. They're doing a sale, Savathun Savings. Get these 2 emblems, player support report. And that's gonna wrap it up for the Twid today. Before the capture card crashes again. I got to nerf, yeah. Very interesting stuff today, though. A lot of changes coming to the game. Wow. Holy crap. Definitely looking forward to the Stasis stuff and the exotic changes. Build crafting is going to be completely reworked. They're changing the game for build crafting. Holy. Let me know what you're most excited for down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Later.